Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Tuesday, April 23rd, 2024 regular closed session meeting of the East Bay Mud Board of Directors. Roll call, Madam Secretary.
Director Chan,
Present.
Director Gomez,
Present.
Director Katz,
Present.
Director Lenny,
Here.
Director Patterson,
Present.
Director Young,
Here.
President McIntosh.
Here. If members of the public are online and wish to speak on agenda or non-agenda items, please use the raise your hand feature in Zoom. Comments on non-agenda items will be heard now. Comments on agenda items will be heard when the item is up for consideration. Madam Secretary, are there any public comments online?
There are no hands online. You have the one card for someone in
I have
person.
one card for in-person comments. Come on up, Yvette. You know the drill, 3 minutes. Welcome.
Thank you. Welcome to the district, Director Gomez. I provided 4 documents to committee members this morning, and now the rest of the board has received those documents. The first document was the Pierce Bland update. It's the Pierce Bland versus Craig Spencer and East Bay Mud. It's their attorney's reply to the district's opposition to pay, I think it's about $4 million. Is it $4 million or 4? It looks like $4,000. No, it's $4 million. Anyway, the document, I'll review it again this afternoon. It does say that just for filing this document, plaintiffs are now going to put in for another 30 additional hours at, looks like $24,000. Again, there's a hearing for this in May. I think it's May 5th. The other documents I provided to you were in response to a retirement board meeting I went to. It was about HIB, the health insurance benefit. It's been at $450 for many years for single employees and $550 for married employees. Anyway, I'll discuss these documents at a later board meeting, but I just wanted to tell you that the pensions, the names of all of the employees that receive a check from the district were obtained through Transparent California. As you'll see, ex-director Deemer receives over $300,000 in retirement benefits a year. And you'll see everyone's pension. The reason why I bring it up is because a good portion of, I want to say mostly AFSCME employees, pay quite a bit into the insurance benefit, and this board is going to be looking at raising that. I also provided you a list of all the performance pay for 2023, and those checks that went out to all of those employees were limited to Local 21, confidential, and I think management. A lot of AFSCME employees, AFSCME employees in 444 do not receive any of those benefits, which is something that maybe should be on the table when the district discusses how to financially save money. Maybe looking at performance pay guidelines at the district needs to be reevaluated so that maybe pensioners that make a lot less money don't have to contribute as much money to the health benefit. I'll yield. Thank you for your time.
All right. I believe that's our one and only speaker. So we will convene to conference room 8 to discuss closed session agenda items 1 through 3, and we're scheduled to return here for the regular meeting at 1:15. Welcome, everyone, to the Tuesday, April 23rd, 2024 regular business meeting of the East Bay Mud Board of Directors. Announcements from committees. We will receive reports from this morning's cost of service study workshop and Finance Administration Committee meeting under item 18. Roll call, Madam Secretary.
Director Chan,
Here.
Director Gomez,
Here.
Director Katz,
Here.
Director Lenny,
Here.
Director Patterson,
Present.
Director Young,
Here.
President McIntosh.
Please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Director Chan.
Hold on. Off. Okay.
All right, Director Chan will now, recognize Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month and EBMUD's Asian Pacific Employee Association Affinity Group. Director Chan.
Thank you, President McIntosh. So the Asian Pacific Employee Association, also known as APEA, was founded in 1998 to promote, educate, and provide information to enhance the visibility, value, and advancement of district employees at East Bay MUD and within our surrounding communities. APA also supports the district's mission and goals of serving the public. In honor of Asian Pacific Heritage Month, APEA will be holding an event each week in May to highlight different realms of the Asian Pacific diaspora. All events will showcase different aspects of the wide variety of Asian cultures through performance, drink, food, and dance. We, the Board of Directors, encourage your support of APEA and the Asian Pacific Heritage Month.
Thank you, Director Chan.
And if it's okay, we don't have a list of the events that are upcoming, but I would like to let people know at a later meeting.
All right,
Thank you. Thank you.
all right, so we'll address that later in the meeting. All right, thank you.
Okay.
All right, the updated 2024 assignments for board committees, joint powers authorities, and associations were included in your agenda materials. The updates reflect assignments for newly appointed board member Gomez. Are there any questions or comments on the proposed assignments?
Not here.
Okay. All right, we need a voice vote to accept the proposed assignments. We have a motion from
Second.
Director Patterson and a second from Director Katz. Any discussion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, it's unanimous. There are no announcements, excuse my voice, there are no announcements required from closed session. That moves us to public comment. If members of the public are online and wish to speak on agenda or non-agenda items, please use the raise your hand feature in Zoom. Comments on non-agenda items will be heard now. Comments on agenda items will be heard when the item is up for consideration. Madam Secretary, are there any public comments?
I have one hand for public comment. I'm going to see if it's on an agenda or a non-agenda item. Justin Young? Is this an agenda or a non-agenda item?
An agenda item, item number 7.
Number 7,
Number
okay.
7.
We'll call you at that time.
Thank you.
All right, and that leaves us to public comment. We have one card, and that's from Yvette Rivera. Come on up, Yvette.
Thank you. I'm here to talk about two items. One is the HIB study that was distributed, I think, last week, and it had survey results about how the retirees feel about the HIB benefit. The other item I'm going to talk about is the update for the Pearson Bland lawsuit, and I'm going to start off with that one. I just got this on Pacer. That's the federal court update website. And it talks about the plaintiff's response to the district's request to the court to lower the amount from $4.5 million that the plaintiff's attorneys, Saji Pierce and Ariel Bland, the amount that they want from the district, on top of the 8 million already. So that's about 12 million. So there's going to be a hearing on May the 10th in San Francisco, if anybody wants to go. It's going to be open to the public, likely. The second thing I wanted to talk about was the survey. I was at the meeting, and some people know I'm running for the board, the retirement board, and it was really to advocate for employees that don't make as much money as retirees or pensioners that make 300,000 a year or 200 or even 100,000 a year. When I was in the retirement board meeting, they came to the portion of the survey where the satisfaction level was brought up, and there were 662 responses, and 111 people said that they were highly satisfied. They gave a 100% rating for the HIB benefit, and the HIB benefit is only $450 for a single and $550 for a couple, for a family. And the reason why I was running for the board was because I ran on the platform that East Bay Mud should be competitive like Contra Costa Water and Dublin Water, because their pensioners pay nothing towards the HIB, from what I understand and from what I heard in the meeting, at the retirement board meeting. So, given that, I wanted the board of directors to see how much pensioners make. The ones right now that are getting a pension, I retrieved that data from Transparency California. It lists all of us, including me, will be listed on Transparent California, how much we make, how many years we worked at the district. And just, I hope the board considers that a great portion of pensions that AFSCME employees mostly get will be paid towards this HIB benefit if East Bay Mud can't be competitive like Contra Costa County and Dublin Water. I also provided the performance pay to see if that could be something that could be considered as a method to maybe help with raising the level of HIB. Thank you, I yield.
Thank you. Madam Secretary, are there any further public comments?
None.
All right, we will now move to the consent calendar to consider items 1 through 14. Are there any comments from the public on consent calendar items?
We have item 7, so
7, yes. All right. Do board members wish to pull any items from the consent calendar? All right, let's vote on the remaining consent calendar items. Do we have a motion?
I'll move.
Second.
All right, we have a motion by Director Chan, a second by Vice President Patterson. A further voice vote is required, Risha, or,
You're just, yes, your voice vote.
all right, okay. So,
Pull 7. You pulled 7.
yeah, and that is item 7 pulled. All right, the rest and remainder of the consent calendar, we have a motion from from Director Chan, a second from Vice President Patterson. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, let's go to item 7.
Justin, you should be able to unmute your mic, and your 3 minutes will start now.
Okay, good afternoon, board directors, General Manager Chan, fellow East Bay Mud employees, and public that are listening. Today I want to talk because there's concerns with the way district is planning capital improvement projects. If you look at consent calendar item number 7, I want to bring awareness to just what the board is actually recommending to approve. We have a board agenda item from December 20th, 2020. It's for design service for a project that, was planned to cost $1.3 million. Currently, that project has now spent $1.4 million. And now district is coming to the board with hands out saying, we need more. We need an amendment from 1.3 initially in December 2020, the present day, 2024, to spend $2.7 million to complete the projects. Went from 1.3, the board approved December 2020, to 2.7, what is in front of you right now. You asked me when I spoke in front of you before to bring any issues. This is an issue that I'm seeing over and over again. And you've heard me come in front of you on multiple projects. And this is just one. There's other projects you'll hear from me again. So there's something that the district, we need to do a better job. When you look into the numbers to see how district is actually handling business, there's nothing I can say in front of you right now that's going to stop this project. The ball is rolling down the hill, and unfortunately, it's growing, just like the cost of this project. I yield the floor. Thank you.
Thank you, Justin. Mr. General Manager, is this time sensitive?
Jimmy has been talking to 2019. Maybe he can respond to the sensitivity of this project.
Good afternoon, President McIntosh, members of the board. The answer to your question as to whether this is time sensitive, I would say it is. This water quality research facility that the design is for is, we have a companion item 6.1 and 6A and 6B, which you already approved. They are tied together, and they are also linked to the Walnut Creek Water Treatment Plant project. So the water quality research facility and this work will help us make decisions on the Walnut Creek pretreatment project. So those other elements are already moving along. This particular agreement helps support that. So it is time sensitive, but I can answer any other questions you may have.
Well, why don't we just start with, for the public's benefit, why don't you explain the increase by $1.3 million?
Sure. So this project was originally awarded in, I think, 2020. The work has proceeded. There have been a number of changes along the way. It was more complex than originally expected because the space available for this facility at the Walnut Creek Treatment Plant is fairly limited. There were complications with an underground pipeline, an underground 48-inch pipeline that we had to work around. Our operations staff looked at the use of the facility and needed some more operational flexibility. So instead of one pilot train, we now have 2 pilot trains in the process. All of that tended to increase the cost of for the construction. And so at some point, we decided that we also needed to value engineer this project and make some changes that also help reduce the ultimate construction cost. But that also involves redesign and an increase in the number of drawings, and that's what the increase in cost is for. But ultimately, we expect that the actual construction cost of the facility, once it is designed, will be lower than what it previously was.
Okay, thank you. Marguerite, did I see a hand?
No,
Okay.
we're covered.
All right. Are there any other questions, thoughts, concerns? Or do we have a motion?
Okay, I would just like to throw this out there. So like if, you're looking at your projects and you see that there's possibility of the project size doubling in cost, I mean, maybe that's something you can give us a heads up about. So I'm just asking you to let us know with a little foresight how our projects are doing in terms of staying within estimated costs.
Okay.
Okay, thanks.
that doable, Jimmy?
I think that is doable. We just have to have a method. This is actually one method, but what I hear you saying is you want a little bit more heads up. This is a method because we have to come back to you to approve an increase in
Yeah.
the design agreement.
Maybe a
Yeah.
little tickler.
Well, maybe what we can do, just, sticking with some of the regular documents, we can include in the monthly report.
Okay.
Okay, it's just nice to know about it before we hear about it when we're on the dais, that's all.
Understood.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. We have a motion and a second. Oh, we don't. You do not. Oh.
I'll move that.
All right, we have a motion from Director Lenny,
Second.
a second from Vice President Patterson. If there's no further discussion or questions, all in favor of item 7?
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstentions? All right, thank you, Jimmy. All right, we will now move to determination and discussion. General Manager Chan will introduce each item.
Yes, so first are some updates to our regulations governing water service, sections 1, 2, 3, 18, and 21, and 31. This is to improve the applicant process to reduce the time it takes to provide water service. These were discussed with the Finance Administration Committee last month, and the committee unanimously supported staff's recommendation. But the committee did ask that we present this similar presentation to the board prior to board considerations. We have Jack Flynn here, our Customer Services Manager, to provide the presentation and update.
Jack, give us a moment to set up the screen. I'm going to shrink just a little bit. It's not allowing you to.
Okay. Thank you. And for today's agenda, we'll go over some background on how we got here, the applicant project process improvement updates, followed by regulation modifications, then trends and goals, and our next steps. For some background, in May 2023, the district held an internal workshop and identified areas of project process improvements that could be done for the applicant project process. Several of the improvements have already been implemented and have significantly reduced application timelines, as well as additional improvements are being implemented as we meet the goals of the applicant project process workshop. We've also performed outreach to various individuals within the development community, providing them with updates on the applicant project process. From the internal workshop, we identified 9 priority areas to improve the applicant project process. These priority areas required more attention to fully investigate and then implement solutions which were identified in the workshop. And one of the major items that was identified in those 9 priority areas was modifying the regulations governing water service. And we'll talk about that further in this presentation. And since the workshop, we have implemented 4 of the identified priority areas, and that has reduced the amount of time it takes for an applicant to apply online with our online water service application, as well as reducing the amount of time it takes to actually process those applications. The workshop also identified 4 systems and priority areas that could be improved in the applicant project process. This would be reducing data duplication, improving systems for customer-facing programs, as well as looking at our general work order system to improve that process, allowing that we have better tracking of applicant projects and allowing meters to be installed more smoothly. And we continue to work on the remaining priority areas to further improve the applicant project process. In March 2024, the Finance Administration Committee received this progress update, reviewed the recommended modifications to regulations, and the committee unanimously supported the regulation modifications. The next 3 slides are going to provide the regulation updates. Each chart will have the regulation updates and then an explanation of why the changes are being proposed. Section 1 is the explanation of terms. We're recommending to add new terms and update some of the existing terms used with applications. These changes provide clear guidance for applicants while they're going through the online water service application and obtaining new water service from the district. We're also removing an existing term, master metering. This term is better explained in Section 3, and it's no longer needed in this section. In Section 2, applying for service, we're adding new language related to the applicant's responsibility to pay outside agency fees. We're seeing more and more land use agencies requiring either engineered specific traffic control plans or fees related to encroachment permits, and it's important that we let the applicants know that they're responsible for paying these outside agency fees. We're also updating language within Section 2 for clarification on when an applicant must apply for water service. Section 3, standard service, has major recommended revisions, updating multiple subsections. We're updating changes in branch service, allowing staff more flexibility for determining when branch services can be utilized for multifamily properties. Another change is in how the district determines when conditional services will be allowed. This impacts small infill developments that don't require a fire hydrant, where we would require a main extension for these small infill developments. And now with these recommended changes, we'd allow conditional services. This is a trend that we're seeing in the development community where more developments are buying long lots and then subdividing into small subdivisions, and there's really no room to put our main extension down those lots. So by providing that flexibility and allowing conditional services, we'll help these projects get new water meters in the ground faster. What used to be a main extension project would now be conditional services instead. Also within Section 3 is updating master meter subsection, which provides more guidance for when a master meter can be utilized, such as at a unified school district property or other similar entity. And these changes in Section 3 could save a significant amount of time for applicants in obtaining new water services. We're also recommending adding a new subsection for accessory dwelling units, which aligns the district's regulations with current California government code. In Section 18, location of service, we're recommending providing updates for more specifics on the district's meters can be installed. This again is to help the development community with planning their development so that they have sufficient information on where our meters must be located and they can appropriately plan their developments. Section 23 is updating the vertical clearance above our meters to align our regulations with the current requirements for maintenance. And Section 31, water efficiency requirements, adds new language to explain the type of submeters that will be allowed when submeters are approved for use in a master meter situation, which aligns us with the changes in Section 3. And all the regulation changes are directed at improving the applicant project process to help reduce the time it takes to get new water services. The next two slides are going to provide trends and the average number of weeks it takes to complete a water service application. At the Finance Committee back in March, the committee asked, what would the timeline look like when the improvements are implemented? And these graphs provide that information. In FY23, if you look at the graph in blue, the district experienced the highest number of average weeks it takes to perform water service reviews for applications for its standard service. During the workshop, changes were identified that could be immediately implemented, and those changes were implemented. And you can see that this current fiscal year has seen those changes in a reduction of average weeks for standard service. For fire services, in FY23, we had received less fire service applications than we have this year, and this is kind of the trend, the lack of ability to forecast applicant work. Some years you have more with one type of service, some years you have more with a different type of service. But we do believe with some of the implementations from the workshop, we'll be able to reduce that timeline to that goal of 25 weeks for both standard services and fire services. And these two charts show hydrants and main extensions. The hydrants are in blue, and you can see that the district has been steadily working on reducing the overall timeline for hydrants. And we believe that with the changes from the workshop, we should be able to meet that goal of 30 weeks. And then on the graph in green is main extensions, and again, the average for a number of weeks. And we believe that we can substantially reduce this. A large change is going to be the number of main extensions that come through the district. Again, if we go with the changes in Section 3 that we're recommending and having more conditional services, there'll be less main extensions that'll be implemented, which will allow staff resources to work on these larger project main extensions, helping to reduce the overall time. And what's important is these goals are goals, but if we get done with something faster, we're going to do it faster. Our goal is to constantly be improving and finding ways to reduce the overall time frame to get new water services in the ground. With that, for today's recommended action, we're requesting the board adopt the modifications to the regulations governing water service. Are there any questions?
I have a question. There's a lot of stuff here, obviously. Have you reviewed this with any kind of stakeholder group or, sort of the applicant community that's going to be, that hopefully going to be positively impacted by this, to see if it hits them the right way or if they see any?
So we did
issues?
do outreach to the applicant community through email. We didn't receive any, well, we received one comment back, but we've also had forums, what we've done with the applicant community, and a lot of these changes are from the applicants themselves, saying, this is what we want. They want less main extensions, they want more flexibility, in how staff determines metering requirements, identifying if sub-meters are available. And so what we're really trying to do is meet development where they've told us they want the district to go. And that's helping them build these infill communities and helping with reducing timelines to allow new meters to get in the ground faster.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
I'll forward a motion to adopt.
I'll second.
An item that, upon reviewing the draft language of this very critical document, I noticed that there was one word added under section 2, paragraph 3, having to do with each unit in a new or renovated multifamily or multi-occupancy commercial industrial premises, that we didn't define in this version what we meant by renovated. And so I believe that that's something that's going to come back to us for defining next month, perhaps.
Yeah, so I discussed with Director Gomez, what we would like is if we just move forward with the approval, because this will benefit applicants today, but the suggestion to add a little more clarity on what renovated is. Right now, the various sections build on each other, so you read it all, you'll understand what renovated means, but we think some clarity would help. But we can make a change and just bring that clarification for a future approval. But if the board can approve this now, just so that the benefits can be seen by applicants right now, that would be appreciated.
Director Gomez, are you good with that?
I'm fine with that, yeah. Thank you.
April, did
I'll
you have a
amend my
question?
motion to include that as a follow-on.
Okay.
My only question is, when are you coming back to let us know about the progress you're making towards the goals?
We can provide updates as goals are implemented, as well as we're planning to do a developers forum later on this year, where we'll be updating the development community again and providing them information on the changes and what they can expect, and hopefully we can receive more feedback from the
Well,
developers at that time.
I'm talking specifically about the time goals that
Yeah,
you're talking about, the reduction of time goals. So when can you let us know how that's going?
I'll look at the various committees we have and find a time that we can provide an update when we have enough information to see how these things are.
I know you're just
Reducing
starting to implement it now, right? So
So-
we just want to watch progress, that's all.
Possibly later this year.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so we have a motion by Director Young.
I'll second it.
Okay, seconded by Director Lenny. If there's no further,
Just to
Risha.
clarify, and Director Lenny, you're accepting it as amended
Yes.
by Director Young.
Yes.
Thank you.
If there are no further questions, comments, or concerns, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, thank you. We look forward to hearing back from you.
Okay, thank you, Jack. Next is our annual water supply availability and deficiency report. This report evaluates the adequacy of our water supplies based on our current and projected water supply and demand. It's the board policy to prepare and report our water supply in April of each year. We have Associate Civil Engineer Ginger Chen to provide the update.
Good afternoon, President McIntosh and other board members. Per District Policy 9.03, the district makes an annual assessment of the adequacy of its water supply. This is done after Department of Water Resources completes its April 1st snow survey. Water supply availability deficiency report provides an update on district's water demands, current water supplies, flow obligations, and recommended actions for the board to consider. Okay. Here's a graphic showing district's water production. These will look familiar. Gross water production is still trending low. The last data point on the red line, which is the current fiscal year, shows we're at about 128 million gallons per day. Comparing last year's, which is the green line, and with this year's, they are very similar. Looking at the purple line, our production currently is about 50 MGD, million gallons per day, lower than average from 2 decades ago. So the recent drought from 2020 through 2022, together with the earlier drought, 2013 to 2015, have advanced long-term, efficient, and wise use of water. The recent droughts, customer usage change patterns, and legislation have contributed to district's low water demand. So at the end of this fiscal year, production is estimated at about 154 MGD. Okay, let's take a look at water supply. These two charts shows East Bay and McCollum precipitation as of April 16th. The local precip is showing at 76% of average. Upcountry, we're doing better at 94% of average. And the forecast looks dry throughout the end of this week. Statewide snow water content is above normal. We're focusing on Central Sierra as it is relevant to us, and it is at 106% of normal. Cable's Lake snow depth is at 130% of average, and snow water content is at 120% of average. So the district's total system storage is the volume of water stored in district's upcountry and East Bay terminal reservoirs. As of April 16th, our total reservoir storage is at 684,000 acre feet and forecasted to be 630,000 acre feet. And that's our maximum carryover target by the end of the water year on September 30th, 2024. And so we're above the drought action of 475 threshold. Okay, this bar chart illustrates a variability in runoff in the McCollum watershed since water year 2000. So there's extreme swings between drought period of 2012 to 2015 to the record year watershed flow in 2017. Then in 2020, drought conditions returned, but high precipitation in 2023 ended the most recent drought. So natural hydrologic variability is hard to predict. Okay, I'll look at, here's the district's water supply flow release commitments for 2024. The release schedule from Comanche for fishery flows will be based on below normal year type. Woodbridge Irrigation District will receive their full base supply of 60,000 acre feet. Jackson Valley Irrigation District will get their full allocation of 3,850 acre feet. And North San Joaquin, a junior water right holder, will get their request of 18,000 acre feet. And following board acceptance of the 2024 Water Supply Availability Deficiency Report, the district will notify the fishery resource agencies of the availability of surplus water.
How is it that
I mean, we're in a normal, above normal year at this point, but is it when the time is set for the below normal designation on the JSA schedule?
Yeah, so the JSA has its own thresholds. To be at normal and above, we had to reach that, I think it's 890,000 acre feet, then we'll be in that normal and above.
Okay, so it has to do with system storage, not with,
Yeah, well,
not with year type, in fact.
well, the water year type in our joint settlement agreement is, it depends on the period. So from April through September is based on DWR's runoff projections. And then for the other 6 months, it's based on storage. And so that's what determines the year type per our JSA.
Okay, so not to be confused with DWR year types.
We have different year types than
Yeah.
other river systems.
Yeah, okay. Okay, yeah, so the district will notify fishery resource agencies of the availability of surplus water. So staff recommends that the board take the following actions. File the 2024 water supply availability deficiency report in conformance with district policy 9.03 and declare the district's water supply sufficient for meeting customer demands in 2024. Okay, and this concludes my presentation. Are there any questions?
Thank you, Ginger. So we need a voice vote to file the 2024 water supply availability and deficiency report in conformance with district policy 9.03 and declare the district's water supply is sufficient for meeting customer demands in 2024.
So moved.
All right, we have a motion by Vice President Patterson and a second by Luz Gomez. All right, if there's no further discussion, questions, or comments, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right.
Thank you, Ginger. For my last item, we want to share with you employees who received service awards between January and March of 2024, and Laura Salangsang is here, Senior Human Resources Analyst, to share the presentation with you.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I'm here for a really great occasion. We are recognizing over 80 employees who are going to be recognized for this last quarter. And before we get into that, recognition for employees is part of our employee recognition program. And just as a reminder, our program covers peer recognition, local celebrations, the Employee Recognition Month, which is in September, and as well as longevity and service awards. And specifically today, we're going to talk a little bit more about the recipients of the service awards. On the next slide. Thank you. And so in regards to the awards, we want to point out that our employees are recognized for every 5 years of service, and in doing that, they receive a district pin, a certificate, and a gift. Employees who reach 20 years, I'm one of them, we got a wooden water drop. And for retirees, they do have a choice to receive a belt buckle or the buckle that is placed in a really beautiful vase. And our retirees who have 25 or more years, they also get to choose to receive a wooden plaque. So today, it's really a nice privilege to share with you that there are over 80 employees who have reached 5 years through 40 years of service. And before I continue, we have some recipients who are here in person. I want to specifically call out Barry Gardin and, yes, Barry, you want to come up? I recommend Barry show his face on Zoom. Okay, we want everyone who's watching to see you.
Or the,
So Barry is celebrating 30 years of experience. Want to introduce yourself, Barry?
Hello, I'm Barry Gard. I'm internal supervisor. I wasn't planning. I didn't dress up today because I didn't think I was coming before the board. So I apologize for the casual wear. But Yeah, it's been 30 years of fun, excitement, change. I think staying around here is a testament to the workplace, the employees, and the leadership. Even though the board has changed, the commitment has stayed the same. Providing water service is a critical need for life, so that's always seemed to be the purpose. So thank you, and it's been fun.
Thank you for your service, Barry.
Thank you, Barry. And we did have Carlton Chan in the room. He is celebrating 25 years. And as you can see, we have one 40-year, Mark, the assistant engineer. And one person I want to point out who's online, who specifically said she's joining us online and watching, her name is Tiffany Tran, and she is celebrating 25 years of service. Yes. There are many people in the district who you see here in these photos, and many of them I have had the privilege of working with. So I just want to express to you that all of us are really happy to grow in our careers here at the district. And we thank you for helping us celebrate these accomplishments. And as you can see, many of our employees, it's a good thing to see that we're all celebrating. And it's one thing we want to do as a district is to continue to celebrate our accomplishments together. So do you have any questions?
No. Thank
Well done,
you.
everybody.
Yes.
Thank you.
One last one.
Thank you, Laura. And finally, at your places is the Speakers Bureau. And that's the end of my reports.
And before we move on, I'd like to just should have done it this morning, a proper welcome of our new director, Luz Gomez. Welcome. Just today, you have proven that you are going to be invaluable to this board. So welcome and thank you for your service already.
Thank you so very much. It's really an honor to
You
be
want to
here
say
serving with you.
anything? You got words?
Goodness gracious, just, I do want to thank each of you for appointing me to this seat. I do consider it a huge privilege, and as Clifford can attest, I've been diving deep into a lot of the learning that, the steep curve that is ahead of me, but I'm enjoying it thoroughly, and thank you all for appointing me, and I look forward to long service with you all.
Welcome, welcome. So, do we have, Madam Secretary, any comments from the public on anything further?
No public comment?
All right, that moves us to committee reports. The board met earlier for the cost of service study workshop, where staff provided an overview of the process for preparing the cost of service study for the district's water and wastewater systems, rate structures in advance of the adoption of rates for fiscal years 2026 and 2027 in June 2025. The cost of service study is part of the district's process for ensuring compliance with Proposition 218 and other legal requirements related to rates and charges. Staff also discussed a review of system capacity charges, including for accessory dwelling units. The minutes from the April 9th, 2024 Planning and Legislative Human Resources Committee meetings were included in your agenda materials. We will now receive an update from this morning's Finance Administration Committee meeting. Director Katz.
Thank you, Madam President. The Finance and Administration Committee met this morning and recommended the board approval of the quarterly investment report and the monthly financial transactions report.
All right, thank you. Please submit items for future consideration to the General Manager's office. That moves us to Director comments. And thank each of you if you've already submitted your written comments to the Secretary. Are there any verbal director comments or reports?
I do. I have one. I would just like to follow up on the APEA events that are happening this month. So on Wednesday, May 1st, is the opening day, and the kickoff, and there's going to be Filipino folk dance and performance. So that's happening, like I said, on May 1st between 12 and 1 on the second floor.
Here in this building.
Yes. Wednesday, on the 15th, May 15th, is tea tasting and desserts between 12 and 1 here in the administration building on the 4th floor. On Saturday, May 18th, is a tie-dye event at the Oak Park Yard between 10 a.m. and 1 p.m. On Wednesday, May 22nd, is a Coca Dama workshop. And that's between 12 and 1 here on the, in the administration building, 4th floor. The kickoff, the closing day is Wednesday, May 29th, and there's a luau with a musical performance, 12 to 1 on the 4th floor. So I've been to some of these events. They're fun. If you haven't been able to enjoy it, yeah, please go. It's a great time.
Ditto.
Yeah.
All right, if there's nothing further, the next regular meeting of the Board of, I'm sorry, Bill.
Just one quick update. I attended the NAACP Community Forum at Acts Full Gospel Church on Saturday. I believe that was the 20th. They had a real turnout, and the issues involved rolling forward, concern about the ranked choice voting, concern about really the question of equality moving forward in the mainstream. And a lot of this was gathering information for the national meeting. And this was Oakland's contribution. Other forums were held in Hayward, and all the branches are doing similar. And I promised that I would attend, so I kept my promise. I was there. And I just bore witness to the fact that the equality issue is permeating the community, and people are turning out. This was really led by a force of women in the NAACP. And it was a fairly interracial, actually crossing over sectors of people. And the members of the Oakland Unified School District, including board members, were on the panel, and the questions were dealt with in a positive manner. And so Oakland moves forward with its interpretation that's being held in the California, Hawaii. This is the regional NAACP. So those were the tidbits that came from that. I just share with you that there tends to be a rising of populations that are now left in Oakland, picking up the pieces and moving forward on a course of unity. I just wanted to state that. I really wasn't prepared to go on Saturday, but I made a promise, and I always keep my promise. That's it.
Thank you, Bill, as usual. I would like to, before I adjourn, ask that our next meeting be adjourned in honor of Reverend Cecil Williams. Cecil was not just a giant of service in San Francisco, but the Bay Area as a whole. And one of his primary goals was not just to feed the hungry and the homeless, but to provide them clean drinking water. And I just think it's imperative that we acknowledge his service to the Bay Area.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. So the next regular meeting of the Board of Directors will be held Tuesday, May 14th, 2024, at 1:15 PM. This meeting is now adjourned.